Black Angus, history repeats. Dorsey picked Freddie, someone he could control instead of what was best. AB learned from the past. See, I don't think in this case, I don't think Tommy Rees is getting the Freddie Kitchens move. Now, Jim Schwartz to Greg Williams, which, by the way, Greg Williams is not, he's nowhere near the coordinator that Jim Schwartz is. But I see the analogy, though, and I don't think they'll do that. J-Back Too Fresh, we gotta repeat this again. Get to 5 Garrett Bush memberships. Thank you so much. You're well too kind. The more I watch Mendoza, the more I want the Browns to trade up for him. Not gonna lie, G. Bush. KSTO, problem. I like Mendoza. Here's your problem. There's 2 things that I worry about with Mendoza. 2 things. Now, I'm on record saying I think he'll be good in the league. Here's the problem. I really have a problem with the offense. They run more RPOs. Over 50% of every pass is RPO. It's a run pass option. And I get it, they run that in the league, but that's not something you can sustain in the league. That's just not something they're going to do. And my problem is I want to see, and this is the hard part about any quarterback. When it comes to drop back, there's going to be a lot of drop back mechanics where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step, 7-step drop. And I want to see what it looked like in terms of reading the coverage. Now, the one thing that I'm going to give him credit for is his back shoulder fade is diabolical. Like he throw the back shoulder fade as well as anybody. That timing. On the RPO, like if you make the wrong mistake, he gonna make the right play, whether it's giving it to the running back or finding where the receiver is. He gonna do that every time. I think he's a lot like Shedeur Sanders in his mobility. I think one of the underrated parts of his game is his mobility and his pocket awareness. Because he when he gets out, he's able to extend enough to get some plays. And I think people, misconstrued him. It was a statue. So I do like some parts of his game. I like the fact he's accurate. And here's another thing too. You can say he's quirky or whatever the case may be. It seems to be that his teammates like him. It seems to be his energy is infectious. So all that stuff that people say, oh, he kind of weird. I'm like, listen, I'm not about to do that because I think Shedeur is infectious. I think he has that it quality. I think he has some of that same stuff where it's like the people on the outside, man, you look at it a certain way, but the people on the inside is rocking with it. So I got to give him credit for that. But I do think that by far, I mean, out of the rest of these dudes in this draft, it's not close. I'd say Moore is nowhere near that dude's level at all. None. Ty Simpson, nowhere near it. Stop. It's not even close. And this the difference, and this the problem I'll be having with these dudes, bro. Like I'll be having problems because it feel like if I could be objective and I could point out to the good things based on the tape that I haven't seen, why can't you do the same thing when it comes to Shedeur Sanders? There's throws. You know how stupid I would look if I say, oh man, Mendoza, he's garbage. Think about this. Understand this. What if I said Mendoza should go undrafted? That's the equivalent of people saying Shedeur Sanders is the worst quarterback in the league. Do you see the conundrum? Do you see the juxtaposition? Do you see that? Do you see where I say do you see where I can say Dante Moore, I don't think he played that well and I think he need to go back to college, but I'm not going to say that he can't fix stuff and next year be a guy that could be a top quarterback. Do you see the difference in the commentary? Do you see? I'm not going to say Ty Simpson is super garbage, but he's a better prospect than Dylan Gabriel. I don't see him going past no 3rd round. But when we talk about Shedeur Sanders, it's a bunch of hot take stuff mixed in nothing. Just emotion and feeling about nothing. Now, if I can sit here and say objectively about these quarterbacks, then what is your problem? Clip that. Somebody clip it. I don't understand it. Desmond Johnson is going to be more GMs fired after the 26th season if they reach for any of the quarterbacks in this class. Worst quarterback class I've seen in a long time. I think, think about it. If Mendoza is like Goff or Kirk Cousins. If you say, all right, man, would you take Kirk Cousins or Goff at 1? Goff actually did go 1, right? It's comparable. Mr. Lloyd's rant about Shedeur 92.3 The Fan reminds me of Archie Bunker complaining because the Jeffersons moved and it became his new neighbors. Yeah, I think, look, and that's another thing too. Like a lot of people, like, this is crazy work. And I be trying to tell them, we be on the show. And I told people all the time, like, look, I'm just be honest with you. Like, people write, there's sometimes when people write super chat, somebody write a super chat and they write a super chat and that's their opinion. I'm going to read the super chat. I might not agree with it. Now, if you say anything like malicious where like you go into somebody's, like you calling them out their name, talk about their family, saying anything with violence or anything like that, obviously I'm not going to do that. But here's the point. If you are a public figure, and I tell all my hosts this, I tell everybody I work with, so maybe we can put this all to bed. Everybody. This is everybody. I'm not, listen, let's put it to, Jay-Z said, hey, let's put this into speculation. I'm talking to all of y'all. If you say something publicly, and I didn't tell you to say that. That was your take. I've said this consistently. If you are a public figure, and it is your take, and you are saying things that people don't agree with, that's not my fault. That's not up to me to decide. I didn't tell you what to say. I didn't say what you should say. I didn't put listen, I'm living my life over here doing what I do. If you said that on another platform or wherever you are, you got to stand by that. My job is not to then, what do you want me to do? Let me give y'all a heads up. And maybe this could dead everything. There has never, ever, and I've been in this game since 2008 doing this stuff on the internet. It is now 2025. I've had radio shows, I've had television shows, I've done the whole gambit. I have never, ever in my life gone to another host and said, well, why didn't you protect me? Or why didn't you say this? Or you should have said that when somebody said, no, that's not the game. It's not the game. You're a public figure. If G. Bush say what he say and leave it where it's at and I deal with what it is, what are you talking? Nobody has ever said, well, no, don't do that. Even when people said I didn't have no sources and the internet went crazy, insinuated I didn't have sources, it is nobody's job to come to my defense and say I didn't have sources. Now, Peterland know me and joints, so they know me. They pulled up on me. All right, that's what's up. They said, oh, yeah, G. Bush got his stuff. G. Bush cool. People been reaching out to G. Bush for years. But the reality of the situation, I didn't need that because I just stand on what I stand on. And I'm never going to go to nobody and be like, well, no, that I stand on what I stand on. We are public figures. If you say something with your chest and that's how you feel, then you got to defend how you feel. And I'm not talking about one specific person. I'm talking about the entire industry. And I'm more in greater context is we talking about, and to put it in perspective, is what TJ Ward is saying. Like, guys, we are public figures. It's like politicians being mad that people comment on them. You're a politician. You're running for public office. We get on, there's 4,000 people listening to this, right? We do millions and millions and millions of people watch what we do. You can't reap the benefits of saying millions of people watch me. I can pay for my lifestyle. I can do what I need to do. But then again, when people don't agree with you, this is out of pocket. No, people got a right to say what they gonna say. If they don't agree with your take, they don't agree with it. Stop crying about it. But because you don't cry about it when they agree with you. You do victory eyes to say I was right. So I don't know. I don't get it. Again, I'm not gonna keep wasting time about it, but stop crying, fellas. Individuals, people, as a collective group of media. Come on. Like we starting to sound like we in 5th grade. Steven 7701. Dream coach hire Mike McDaniel as head coach. Dan Pitcher is OC. First pick Tate. Next 3 picks offensive line. I don't know if we can crazy. Tate at 6. We'll be talking about that. I'm starting to think that we might go offensive line higher. But stick around. We got the film work to prove it. Selmo Fudd, member for 3 months. We appreciate you, my guy. 2026, we don't miss. Smash that like button and support G. Bush and the Barbershop and Kool-Aid Mafia. We dog pound. We legendary. Selmo Fudd, we appreciate you, my guy. CMD Playtown. Or is that Towan? Towan, I think. We all knew that D. Podesta was in charge while Barry was there. Seems like Barry has just gotten in charge of things, and that's why he was not fired. So you're meaning to tell me the guy whose name was Chief Strategy Officer over all strategies he was running? Yeah, he was running the show. We knew that. And I told you what it was back when I said, yeah, he up out of here. He was in charge, and he didn't pay no dividends. And then Jimmy found out he didn't know what he was doing. A baseball guy talking football. Wild work. Black Angus, so Jimmy is saying it without saying it, that all the moves made in the previous years were not all driven. Oh, there you go. This is why we give you visuals. And we putting this thing together, Black Angus, so you can get it. You feel what we putting down? Emmanuel Johnson, fools don't understand. The front office sees how the team responds to Shedeur. AB highlights the game-winning drive in a recent interview. They see all of this. Everybody else chooses to be blind to it. Oh, you want that? Oh. Chooses to be blind to it. It's there if you want to look at it, but that's why people discounted those last 2 wins. Look at the way they speak about those wins. Look about the way they talk about how the team rallies around and how the young guys, they see what it is. You don't think that these guys, and by the way, Myles Garrett has already talked about with Shedeur Sanders what he felt and how he looked and what it was. Come on now. Why go back and listen to, I wish I had that. Go back and listen to Shedeur's last final press conference when he talked about after the game, what has he learned? And he said his energy was a little down. I believe Andrew already done talked to him. Him and Kevin had a conversation. And, they probably put some things on the table, him and Kevin and Shedeur. But Andrew talked to Shedeur after the game and said, listen, hey, bro, we did our thing this year, but let's let you know that we got a target on our back next year. Because if we moving on from Kevin and you about to be the quarterback, then it's going to be a lot of people ready to write that why am I here? Why are you here? Why is Deshaun Watson? The whole thing. So we better get the wins to come with it. Or who's the next person that they coming after. And it only took a couple of days, and that's who they's coming after. If you still want Baker Mayfield, somehow you mad about that, you don't like AB. If Kevin got fired, he didn't, you don't like it. You don't like the fact that Shedeur is still here. You don't like the fact that Deshaun Watson is still here. You don't like the fact that Jimmy Haslem chose. Like, all of this stuff. And I keep trying to tell them, y'all can stop trying to paint me as the Andrew Barry. Listen, he can do no wrong. I was telling you that I didn't like certain picks before that. However, I can also say at the same time that why he is here today is because of what he did in this year's draft and the moves he's made. And by the way, it's ultimately up to Jimmy Haslem. So, I mean, the deflection don't work. I mean, like, here's, no. Listen, I may be the Pied Piper, but we don't have people that's in here that just moves to everything I'm saying. We drink Kool-Aid, but we ain't stupid. We got people that can agree to disagree over here. Like, let's not acting like everybody is in some fairy tale la la land. Let's stop doing that, people. It's not gonna work. Let me see this. Miss Bell, Barry let Haslam know he had a plan and then drafted Shedeur. Made a path to get a coach that'll develop Shedeur, then draft Shedeur some help. Smart man if so. I always say this. If this is what we doing, how we moving with this, what we need to get to is we need to say, just look at what his track record is. And you tell me that ain't his guy. Because now I'm looking up and the quarterbacks ahead of him got moved and the coach is gone. Kevin House. AB drafted a superstar quarterback in the 5th round. He made the Browns a talking point on ESPN every single week since training camp and sold the top 10 in jerseys. Kevin, I think a lot of people discount that. Jimmy Haslem has one of the most valuable organizations, and you mix the fact that the Cleveland Browns have one of the most loyal fan bases in the world. You go back and look at Browns backers all around this country. Go back and look at Browns backers. There's people that watch this blog about the Browns in every corner of the United States. Shout out to the Honolulu, Hawaii Browns backers. Some of them folks over there, they've been getting up and watching the Barbershop, and they've been up over there in Hawaii watching this at 3, 4, 5 in the morning because of the time difference. You got people in England, Ireland, all across this world that is hooked to the Cleveland Browns. And you just plugged in that loyal fan base with another fan base of a guy that's one of the most famous people in the game. Not to mention he can play. I always got to, and I always got to throw that on there because I think it's disrespectful to the foundation and principles of what what the foundation of my football commentary is. It's about play. I could do the rest of the stuff, but it's about play too. Why you feel like, and I keep having to educate people. I come from the black community. Black people don't get starstruck. Some of us do. Let's take it too far. Some of us be starstruck. But where I come from, there's people who inside your own circle is a superstar. Inside your own community is a community leader, and they don't do nothing. They got a regular job, but they the leader. You go to the hood. You go to the street. It's a guy you don't know, don't see him. He the dude. Anything moving around here, you got to come through him. If you want somebody in the know, you go to him. If you need a guy to do something, you go to him. What are we talking about right here? We ain't fans. Like, you got to think about this. I try to tell them the way it worked. I respect Shedeur Sanders. I respect Jimmy Haslem. I respect all these guys. I respect the whole Sanders family. But I'm here to talk about football. I'm not over here trying to, y'all be getting it confused. Shedeur Sanders and me or any other kind, we're not about to go out and have hot dogs. Now, hit me up if you want me to come over. I can really get the hot dogs together and then get twisted, Prime. But I always told people like this, even if I met Shedeur Sanders, which you don't know if I did or haven't, or Coach Prime, you wouldn't know about it. You know why? Because I understand what the crazy part about it is. They do little things to discredit. Now, you could go meet a quarterback and do an interview with him, but if I do an interview with him, all of a sudden I'm doing it for clicks. I'm doing it because I'm pandering. I said, bro, I told you I would draft him at number 2. How am I pandering now when he's a 5th round pick and he's balling and threw for 360? Well, maybe if you wasn't in your feelings, you could see that too. Yoshi Doshi, did you see the slip where Barry told Siciliano they wanted Shedeur week 1? That was a huge point for the coaching search. Who likes Shedeur that much? And remember, we got to that. Remember, we got to that. Y'all be already on it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be on it. Y'all pull up. Y'all be on it. We weaved that together. I seen that early. I said, oh, okay. We ain't even go below the spot up with it too. We didn't even go below. Look, that was just a little nugget for them. That's for y'all that don't know. You know what I'm saying? Catch up. 28. We appreciate you, my bro. Welcome to the family. Black Loud Ghetto. I'm tired of Jason blaming Shedeur. The NFL did this by drafting him in the 5th round. They're trying to humble him, and it backfired. They made him bigger. Jason, tell your media to stop asking him questions. Here's the thing. I hope after today, in this conversation, for everyone, and I'll tell you, I don't have the energy to be talking about it. See, that 5th round pick conversation is null and void. He ended the season as quarterback 1 and 2 wins. So any backtracking, Bible always talks about the promised land is in front of you, not behind. Don't turn back. People who turn back ain't fit for the kingdom. We ain't looking backwards. We're looking forward. Swanson Family Farm. We need Cleveland's media to speak victory into the team. Stop speaking flaws first. I want to be a fan, man. First thing you got to understand is you got to choose and pick and choose what you hear. Pick and choose what you let into your spirit. All this talk about this being the worst job and it's the worst whatever and it's the worst. Man, it only take a couple people to change stuff. When 2 touch and agree, man, it's a thing called synergy, bro. And one of the things is a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people that be doing a bunch of stuff ain't never won nothing. That's why it's important for kids to play team sports. It's important for them to understand those things. It's important. You know, my mom and dad, it was a point in time where they was like, yo, we want to send your son away to be a gifted foreign exchange student. And they said, nah, you're going to stay right in these city schools. You know why? That's what you could be smart anywhere. But they wanted to see me. They wanted me to get the struggle, the realness, the ability to feel comfortable not only around other people, but your own people. See, what happens is sometimes it's very difficult. When you get to a place, you see less and less black people. So you may even get to a point where you start feeling comfortable around every other community, but you can't even feel comfortable around your own. So that was a big thought process. So, you know, when you talk about synergy and energy and thinking different and being different, those are all things that you got to live with and roll with. And I want somebody who want to change something, not live on nobody else's fears. I don't live in your fears. If I lived in your fears, I wouldn't be who I was, and I wouldn't be where I am today. because you got to be fearless to even do something like this. I told them, I told God, I want to be a sportscaster. You know, he told me, he said, well, update your resume and stop putting no other jobs on there. I went on LinkedIn immediately, took all my experience. I've worked in corporate America for 5-10 years in management, high level. He said, take it off the resume. Don't look back. I updated my LinkedIn and I started getting calls. You got to change the way you think. You got to first speak it into existence and then live in that. But if you sitting here talking about this, the worst job, they ain't about to do this, they ain't about to do that, they ain't about to. Man, I think you projecting. You telling me all your insecurities about what you think you ain't done. Now, we got to be realists, but at some point in time, we can't be in your fears at 24/7, 365. And it gets draining too. That's why I told you all this the last week. So get it all out now. Everybody get it all out now. Because as you see the content roll through, this is less and less about talking about other people. This is more and more telling you about what the Cleveland Browns they need to do to move forward. It's a transition. Leave all of that back where it was at. Because where you at now is not where you started at. Always understand that. And where you at now ain't where you trying to go to. And Scott, Shedeur can win. We know. Can the Browns? We gonna see. Very committed to 12 week 1 on a podcast for 2026. No manners, right? That might be it. It might be. We appreciate you. Yeah, we played that. We got to that through the Fire podcast. Did you know Shedeur had 400 more yards than Tom Brady when you compare their first 6 rookie starts, and they had the same number of TDs? I did not know that. See how them stats can make you look? Cleveland needs to hire her for the analytics. Hey, I will listen. Say what you want about the Browns and Jimmy Haslem. Thing that I can recognize and respect from them is the Haslems have always had a representation, a strong representation of females in the organization, as well as minorities in the organization. You go back and look at the level of minorities, African Americans hired in the front office, in the coaching staff has always been tops in the league, one of the top teams in the league. And for women candidates and women being represented, when you go to on campus, the Browns have women working in every single level of the organization. So I commend them for that. They've always done a good job in making sure their representation has been throughout. And I've always respected, one thing I respect about the Haslems is I've always respected Jimmy Haslem, always respecting his wife as an equal partner. Very, very few owners and very few guys and people in ownership at that level do that. I don't know if they've thought about that, but I've always respected that. He always says when it comes to ownership is D and Jimmy Haslem. And so I've always appreciated that unified front, and I always thought that was classy myself. Did you see Dan Orlovsky and the other national media members crashing out that Stefanski got fired? Never seen a mediocre coach been so overrated in my life. The one thing, Hakeem, we appreciate the super chat. One thing that I've always taken consideration and watched is that coaching is a fraternity. It is a fraternity. And one thing that I realized that I wanted to be a graduate assistant for like 5 seconds. I thought about coaching for 6 seconds and then got into it and looked into it and realized I wasn't cut for it. Because one of the main reasons and one of the main issues is when you talk about coaching is you never show up a coach. You never say anything on record bad about a coach. And you always, always, always obey the chain of command, whether you're right or wrong. In coaching, there's rules and regulations, unwritten rules and regulations. And one of the things is coaching is all about securing your opportunity to continue to be in. That's why coaches have a union. That's why coaches, their salaries are never put in public. It's not public knowledge. You don't know how much these coaches are making, and they do that for a reason because it makes them seem more like the common human. Regular people identify more with coaches over players because coaches, they live in secrecy. You only see a certain amount of them. They do a good job of making themselves look like every man, but that's by design because they never tell you how much a coach is making. It's the reason why coaches in college get more heat than coaches in the pros. Because Lane Kiffin, when he want to go to another school, they already done broadcasted his salary. Well, they work for government, publicly held schools. Those are state institutions. So we have a right to know what my taxpayer dollars is going to in terms of your buyout and your contract or whatever it is. So in the pros, they don't do that. You don't know how much money Kevin Stefanski make, but think about it. Think about it if you knew, and it's not necessarily true. Think about if you knew if Kevin Stefanski was the highest paid coach or not. If you knew he was the highest paid coach and he made it a clock management issue or took Shedeur out the field and ran wild dog, you would flip out and say, how is this dude making X amount of money? He need highest paid. But here's the thing. We know how much Deshaun Watson is making. So we know how much he making. So now, if Deshaun Watson don't play good, you're going to say he got the allegations, plus he didn't play good, we had to give up these picks and the guaranteed contract. There's reasons for this, people. It's reasons. Levitt 6. That's why Kevin Stefanski shouldn't be allowed to coach ever again. He's a calculated snake. Now, I try to always give people grace to change, and I try to give people an opportunity to make amends on their mistakes, right? So I'm not going to begrudge him, but I'm cool as him being my head coach, right? I'm cool on that. I mean, he has questionable things, but I hope you wish you're blessed in your future endeavors through the Fire podcast. Bush, did you see that Shedeur had a better first 6 games than Manning? Shedeur had more touchdowns, more passing yards, better rating, less interceptions than Peyton Manning's first 6 games. I'm just saying. And we back to them statistics again. Ain't it funny how sometimes statistics can show you a little something, right? I mean, you can find anything to say what you want, right? But I like the fact that you're given a statistic that can kind of fight back against some things. You see how I can point to say, well, if that's true, well, shouldn't Shedeur be a Hall of Famer then? No, nobody would say that. But on the other end of the spectrum, just because you could find a stat that says in those same 6 games he didn't perform well, you shouldn't say he's the worst quarterback in history. You see how context works. James Cosby, thank you so much for your super chat. We appreciate you so much and your kindness. Pino Fit, I'm a CU fan. We watched Shedeur play with a bad offensive line for 2 years, good prepared with 4. God prepared him for this. Stefanski is not God. Pressure makes diamonds go buffs. Yeah, nobody is God. Me, you, nobody. So all you should do is continue to go through, persevere, get better in the off season, and then that's the thing. People say get Shedeur out of here. I'm glad he's going through some things because what he's going through today is going to ultimately pay dividends in the future. Joint JDMBA. Shedeur Sanders was sacked against the Bills on 4th and 7. No max blindside protection to help 68 on a critical play. Shameful. 68 was singled up a lot. Old girl Leah was dropping some facts. Bro, she had the sack rate and everything. She had a precise re-relay. G. Bush hasn't been wrong yet. I hope the supporting cast of those lame ducks on the show are paying attention. They doing it. Listen, they all doing something else. They probably either sleep or hanging out with their family doing something. But we work it over here. It's for me in the barbershop. We cook in the morning. It's on Saturday. Nicole, how you doing? Kevin had 8 wins in 2 years, but Shedeur grown Sanders had 3 of those wins in a month and a half and with on-the-job training. Ain't it funny how them wins stack up? See, Nicole, they're a little salty right now. Nicole, they hot. You know why? He got them 2 wins. Them 2 wins hurt their soul. They got the quarter. So you mean to tell me in 3.5 months, think about this. Stefanski got up out of here. They wasn't getting no more quarterbacks. And this dude, and this dude, Shedeur is he just solidified. Like they ain't getting rid of him either. He looked like he gonna be number 1 Q. They salty about that. And they had people's crying, opening their jerseys for Christmas. It's been a tough 4 weeks for people. I can see why. It's been a tough 4 weeks. Yoshi Doshi, hit that like button, y'all. We appreciate you. We got to play this again. Tristan Skywalker. Experts use EPA to drag 12. Judkins' EPA ranks him as one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, but Bull, Jason, and Jay say Judkins is special and blaming struggles on the line. Jason never gives 12 the grace. Does 12 need a block for himself better and catch his own passes? When you take in consideration, talk about people taking sacks. All sacks aren't created equal. All sacks are not a quarterback stat. All sacks are not an offensive line stat. You can get sacked because, guess what? Nobody was open. You can get sacked because you slipped and fell. You can get sacked because the offensive line got beat. You can get sacked because the offensive line got beat, but you gave the wrong protection. You can get sacked because it's just a good play by the defense. Again, what in football, we make boogeymen out of certain things, and we hang our hat on to try to pin up certain thoughts and narratives. Sacks are part of the game. They just are. It's not nothing unique to Shedeur Sanders. It's not unique to, no, it's part of the game. It happened. Keisha says, riddle me this. Shedeur isn't great. Flip anyone that you put back there will have the same results. Which is that? Which is it? He isn't good, or he needs personnel. Flip anyone you put back there will have the same results. Which is it? What you found was take a look at what we talk about with watching the game with Dante Moore. He multiple fumbles, multiple sacks in the pocket, multiple interceptions, pick sixes, right? That's and Oregon has a good line, and they got good skill positions, and they got the best roster money can buy, but it still happened. So when we are given all these, jumping in, but now saying that for Shedeur, watch how they are easily able to dismiss that when it comes to people they like. Nobody was jumping up and down when Dillon Gabriel got sacked 6 times against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just saw Shedeur Sanders play against the Steelers. Did he get sacked 6 times? No. As a matter of fact, they won. Where was all the EPA stats? Think about this. The EPA stats didn't come around till Shedeur started playing. You see, the standards be quadrupled. Like they wasn't. Where was all the conversations about why Dillon Gabriel ain't standing by Shedeur learning the playbook? Where was all of the? Did we one time go interview Dillon Gabriel when Shedeur was the starter? So why was you interviewing Shedeur when Dillon was the starter? We didn't hear about what backwards hat Dillon wore. We know why. We absolutely know why. Vigilant Hawk, I'm going to need you to keep the same energy in UCSS. If it dangers the bag, keep doing your thing. I think we discussed that too. My role on UCSS is not the same role on here. UCSS is a 2-hour show produced with topics that are picked by producers. We each get a few minutes or moments to give our opinion, and we go back and forth, and then we get to another topic. The show is composed mostly of 4 panel members. That means 4 people have to talk. It is composed of interviews, in each of us get maybe one question. And we have 2 producers, 1 person who's clipping, and an executive producer. So my role on UCSS, as much as people may look into it, is a much more condensed, different type of format than what we do here. And here, this is my format. I control it. I say what I want. I do what I want. I produce it. It takes I got concepts. Right now we've been doing this for almost 3 hours. We read every single super chat on UCSS. You can't read every single super chat because there's too many of them. So the formats are different. So a lot of people say, hey, why don't you say, contrary to popular belief, it is not. You can't, everything I disagree with, I can't just cut people off and say, I don't agree with that. Here's why. That's called derailing the topic in the show. Now, if I want to give my opinion, I will tell people, I was talking about this earlier. Let me give my opinion on it. And you can get an unbridled opinion of what it is that I mean to say. And you can get it uninterrupted and fleshed out. So that's that's the way it would be. DK1028. If you were going to be called the Shedeurians, then I'm calling them the asses because all of their points are asinine. Salute G. Bush. I'm a member now. I appreciate you. They call y'all prime sexuals and all this other stuff. And like, come on, man. I just been making them noise. So I don't understand why you think you can call them that and they're not going to say nothing to you. I don't get it. Through the Fire podcast. Josh Allen, first 6 rookie head starts. Passing yards, 832 yards. 2 touchdowns. Passer rating is 61.8. And Shedeur Sanders passing, 1,400, 7 touchdowns. Passer rating is 68.1. Have I made my point? Yeah. The point is, When you're a rookie, you struggle. You could be up and down. Your play has a lot to do with the surrounding cast, even coaching, play calling, all the above. And to make an assessment on somebody within 6 or 7 games is not really something that you can extrapolate over a large sample size. Neil Gray, Brown should has a solid foundation to build upon. Outstanding rookies, seasoned vets. Just need a good 2026 class, invest in the quarterback development and offensive coach, and keep Watson as their Deshaun as the vet. I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. Couldn't say it better. Nita says the local media need to get a transition plan to upskill or exit plan to fix their credibility issues for next season. Else, they won't have any views to keep their jobs. They better stop crashing out. I mean, I think when you get new information, it's always easier to pivot, right? Andrew Berry looks like he's going to be here. Let's figure out what we need to talk about with the Cleveland. My goal is talking about the Browns. When I said Kevin Stefanski should have been fired 2 or 3 years ago, I was in the minority. People said they're not going to do that. So, I mean, I didn't crash out every week, the Browns didn't make the move. So I need to adjust accordingly. If Kevin's not going to be there, let's critique Kevin on what he's doing on the field then. You know what I mean? But I can't, I got to live in reality of what it is, right? Improving your life. Who is the wide receiver they got from the CFL? Wooden? They got a receiver from the CFL. I got to take a look at that. We can figure that out. Let's see. All right. So here we go. Thank you for asking that question. What I do is try to do things in real time. Try to get you guys asked for it. So let me figure it out. Okay. So apparently, take this down. The Cleveland Browns have signed punter Nick Castano and wide receiver Isaiah Wooden to their reserve future contracts. Castano is a 6'3", 225, is officially in his first NFL season out of Texas A&M. He was originally signed by the Denver Broncos as an undrafted free agent in 2024. More recently, he spent time with the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL. Wooden, 5'9", 170, is officially in his first NFL season out of the Southern Utah. Originally signed by the Atlanta as an undrafted free agent in 2024. He spent time with the Falcons 2024 and the Chargers 2024. Wooden also spent time in the CFL with the BC Lions and then Hamilton Tiger Cats. So there you have it. There you have it. JB Spoon 92. People say I'm hating, but when I watch him in Zoa, I see a system quarterback who operates well. And when things are clean and clear, no real have any special attributes. 12 was out there creating and won mixtapes. I think, and I kind of alluded to this. One of the things that I worry about is when you're not running RPOs, when how can he do, if he a straight drop back dude, know nothing, get to my read to make them throws. But I think he has talent. It's just about, what they do. And a lot of it is what they put around him. A lot of it is, are they going to make the system around him? Because you can try to minimize some of his not so strong suits until he can develop some of those things. Dante Moore is more competent, less athletic. Justin Fields, Sapper Daddy. I don't even see the athleticism in Dante Moore like that. He kind of, Tanya says 12 is a quarterback one. A stimulus package for Haslam and Cleveland and Titans game was the big time politics, aka boosters in the sidelines, ticket sales and talent. Racist Cleveland media knows it. We can see the hate. I think when you look at it, when I seen Prime in the building, I kind of knew what it was, because Prime not just gonna show up willy-nilly. Like if he ain't talked to nobody, he not about to show up for none of that. He ain't about to do all that. Carlton Childs, I get Barry was strategic from not naming a starter, but the Giants and Saints have Giants and Tennessee need coaches as well. They didn't shy away from giving the confidence in a young quarterback. That's tough. What the Saints and the Giants, Saints and the Giants, they don't deal with the same thing we deal with. Like in terms of the Giants, you take a look at it. Watch this. Let me see. And I'll put it in perspective. I'm going to put it in perspective. Brian Daboll got fired. Brian Daboll got fired early. Let me pull this up so we'll put this in perspective so you can get it. These is Jackson Dart stats, right? So what's more evident? is Jackson Dart's stats. So when you look at Jackson Dart's stats, he has enough of a sample size where you can't really knock that. So 63 completion, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he's rushed for, I think, six or something touchdowns as well. So when they fired their coach in the middle of the season, they already made the decision when they fired the coach who they was rolling with. It's the same thing with the Browns. If the Browns didn't believe in Shedeur Sanders, why would Kevin Stefanski have been fired? He would have never played if Stefanski was here. And if he would have never played, Stefanski would have still continued to be here and playing Dylan Gabriel. He lost, just like Dable lost. So the new coach coming in, obviously, is going to deal with Jackson Dart because that's what it is. But it's a different situation and standard of you don't got people over in the Giants or in the Saints running around here still upsetting their feelings and mad writing articles because Kevin Stefanski got fired. So they hedging their bets. They putting people at, it does you no good to sit here and come out and say Shedeur Sanders is going to be your starting quarterback today because it just does you no good. Why do I need to say that when I didn't already talk to him and the owner didn't talk to him and the owner doesn't know what it is? See, you got to learn that you ain't got to give the media nothing because they've already told you they're not an honest arbiter. They said that they was cool with having a quarterback competition, and then Shedeur got in and said that's the reason he wasn't playing. They're not interested in having no conversation. These are the same people asking you please throw your coach under the bus. Talk about the play calling. Did you like it? I'm not giving them nothing. What we're gonna do is if I'm done spoke to you man to man, and I done looked at you and you done seen everything that we talked about, was already understood, don't need to be said. I didn't already talk to it. It is what it is. Y'all think what y'all want. And now you have nothing to go off of. The correct move. He said reps that aren't needed, those aren't needed. Shedeur got none. See, Miss Bell, you don't need no reps. Well, Dante Moore said that come with reps. I think reps. Oh, and this the guy. You see, you don't miss nothing. You don't miss nothing, Miss Bell. You don't miss nothing. What if Krevin dropped the bomb on 12 before the Bengals game? I believe this is why Sanders' energy was off during the game, and the weapons they gave him 12 went to war with. He knew before the game. I think he knew before the game. I think they had a conversation before the game. He said he had a conversation. And, the weight of that is a little different. You don't never know how you handle it. And maybe that was the only time they was going to have a conversation back and forth about why it was that he wasn't playing or didn't get the chance to play or whatever the conversation may have. It might have been an emotional conversation. But the great thing about it is he still came back and figured it out and they won the game. G. Bush, there is a fourth group who want any quarterback but Shedeur. That's a contingency too. Yeah, there's a group of them. And they kind of throw Watson in there because they just like he needs to be gone. And even though the owner just told you that wasn't happening. Doggy Bone Mendoza is benefiting from a superior team. Indiana is built with 4 to 7 year players. Indiana is where good coaching meets experience. Average players are 2 years max. That's why Indiana looks elite. Now, I agree with that. I told somebody on the show, when you're dealing with now, with NIL is different. NIL is different now. You better off recruiting guys from programs with track records. And in the game, they talked about it. Eddie wants guys that can play. It don't matter if you D2, D4, D whatever. It just goes to show you that the best players coming out of high school are not the best players that you see in college. There's players who slip through the cracks all the time. There's players who weren't given an opportunity or maybe play in a different position, or they just develop. So now that's what it's about. Give me good teams. I would rather draft a starting tackle that went to Kent State or Akron that played for 2 or 3 years than draft a 17-year-old out of high school that I got to develop and who's going to transfer anyway if he don't play. So that's what the game is now. The encouragement after. Thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate you. Nita, unless I'm missing something, I have not seen Cleveland complying with the Rooney Rule. Yes. I think what's the name counts. Dirty, I think and if they do, by the way, Mike McDaniel is technically, I think he's part black too. So there's a couple of people. By the way, this isn't the end all be all because there's a lot of people that they can bring in after the whole preliminary thing. So this is the first wave of people coming in for interviews. Eric Bieniemy need to be the head coach. Freddie Mayo, the great. This is the problem I have when people are sitting around here talking about why people ain't going to take no jobs. I mentioned this. I said, how's that worked out for Eric Bieniemy? Let's be honest with you. Like, Gerard Mayo was there for a year. He got fired after a year. Eric Bieniemy has still never been a head coach, and he has multiple Super Bowls, right? So the thing is, people's, Flores is yet to be seen if he gets another opportunity and job. So the fact that we sitting here talking like minority candidates will not take jobs because of what's there, they're looking for an opportunity to prove themselves. So this thought that we can just pass over and skip over stuff, no, that's not what it is. Let's not act like there's opportunities rampant in this industry, because Eric Bieniemy has not been mentioned for a job yet. Christopher Ryan. Independents like yourself are exposing all the corporate media. Sports reporting has turned into political propaganda, except sports. Browns need to keep 12 and build around them. Yeah, independent media in this space is new. And it's now, I think most people are finding that the independent media is much larger and bigger than anyone thought. Traditional print news is a thing that's, lost a lot of steam. When they stopped circulating newspaper, the internet and YouTube became a lot. Think about what happened with ESPN. Pat McAfee is the biggest name at ESPN, and he started where? On the internet. He's the biggest thing moving. The tide is shifted. Sports Center used to be the biggest thing I moved with. Everybody likes sports. Now people leave sports centers left and right, doing other different things, going to independent places, right? That independent content is different. You know what I'm saying? I used to do 4 or 5 hour radio shows. Last year, it's been about a year. I stopped doing a 5-hour radio show and started doing this. And this show has reached countless more people than I could ever reach at a radio program. And it just goes to show you the way that the climate has changed. Streamers, all those individuals play a big role in that. And so now players are in that space. Former national media or corporate media is in that space now. And everybody's competing and jousting for market space and market share. So, now people have opportunities to go to other places and seek out the information that they want. And I think it's a big part of what it is now. And it's uncomfortable to some, but for others, you embrace it or you become a dinosaur. It's either or. It's the way life and marketing and business works. I think it's an exciting time. People talk about, you want to get in sports? I tell people all the time, G. Bush, how do I get in sports? I say, buy you a microphone and a keyboard and a computer and start talking. I'm proof it can work. Christopher Robbins, independents like yourself exposing corporate media. Sports reporting has turned into political propaganda expert. Except it's sports. Browns need to keep 12 and build around them. I had to go ahead and do that twice. I had to go ahead and show to you twice, man. We appreciate you, man. And Christopher Robbins became a member. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Dave talks credit. Yeah, TJ Ward triggered him. That's another thing. They're not used to people that are athletes that are saying things like that. They're not used to people coming out and be like, man, listen, you got me to be. And my thing is too, I always question people and ask people, why is it that I don't have a problem with it? I'm part of the media. TJ Ward says that the media is all negative, the Cleveland media. Why am I not mad about that? Because I don't think he's talking to me. I don't go around. I was like, I don't like that person called everybody thugs. Man, I can never be a thug. They don't dress this well. I know you ain't talking to me. I know you ain't talking to little old G. Bush. Everybody in the Cleveland media is thugs. Why would I turn around and pay one attention to that? Because I know you're not talking to me. I know you ain't talking to me. I don't even pay no attention to that. Morris Palmer, we appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so much. Sapper Daddy, I don't know what was going through Bull's head when he says he'll cut Deshaun Watson and take the cap hit. Like, dude, there's a reason you're not a GM. It's lunacy. Yeah, I'd be cracking up. Yeah, that's not going to happen. You can't. What do you mean cut him? For what? For why? Think about this. If they had a problem with Deshaun Watson, You think he would be showing up at his family gatherings? You think Haslams wouldn't be pulling up at this man's wedding? What are you talking about? You think they would have Shedeur Sanders meeting with Deshaun Watson on the sideline after his first game, his first start? Come on now, let's get to it. Does coach's money go against the cap? No, it doesn't. Coach's money is not against the cap. Good morning, Barbershop family. I was running errands this morning. What did I miss? You can rewind it. We went through the coaching search. We went through why the staff and already done told you what it is. 25% of the NFL needs coaches. I would like to roll the dice with Mike McCarthy. I don't know, man. Mike McCarthy, I don't know. I got to look. I don't know about Mike McCarthy. Disco drip. Harbaugh was fired before Lamar saved his job. He's not a team builder or scheme genius. What is he good at? Carried by Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Lamar. By the way, this is something. Harbaugh ain't running around, bro. Harbaugh, you go back and ask about Harbaugh in Baltimore. They threw a party. I mean, I have so many people from Baltimore about good riddance, good time. You got to think about it. The Baltimore Ravens had the MVP, and he could have won 3 MVPs while he was there. And you didn't win. You didn't get it done. You didn't win the big game, bro. Not as a matter of fact, that Pittsburgh Steelers team that you lost to, the Cleveland Browns beat the prior week with nobody. Nasty work. Patrick Williams, G. Bush, why the narrative is about Harbaugh only coming from Grossi and Mary Kay? Would have thought it would have come from his agent. Well, they might have came from the agent. You know, the agent putting stuff out there. You know, they might be talking to his agent. And the agent is being like, let me tell you where John is going to go. John is going there. This is what he wants. That's the way the game works. You're just getting your resume out there. I wholeheartedly don't believe that he will become the Cleveland. It just don't. The timelines don't match for me. Lawrence RBE. I'm questioning some fans of the Browns. Some are belly aching because the Browns fell out of Mendoza. It's easy to look great with protection. Wish him well, but I don't see it for unclean pockets. The thing that I get with Mendoza, and it is a very sound scheme, because the way they run those RPOs, it makes it seem as if those are design runs. They're not. He has a run-pass option. They don't make mistakes. They have a really good offensive line, and the RPOs make it very difficult for you to really take away the passing lanes because they do a good job in the numbers game. So when Mendoza is one read, getting to it, getting the ball out of his hands quick, it's over. On third down, he does a good job, and this is what saves him a lot, is he's pinpoint accurate on them back shoulders. He has good receivers that understand. They work that back shoulder, and they throw deep passes, and when you complete those passes, it makes you even more timid to come up and stop that. It makes you even more timid to add people to the box. But in terms of, it's very few times where I see him on film and they live and die with this, where it's a 5-step drop. He got to read the defense, and he need to elude in the pocket, get in the pocket, and find the angle to throw the football. That's not it. It's not it. That's not his game. It's not his game. Everything, that's why you see and it's very impressive. I'm not saying he can't be good, but there are some things that you do have to worry about at the next level. Lawrence, where we at? KTV Watch. Much love, G. Bush. Big fan of your work. I love to interview you. I just put up an interview with Puka Nacua. Much love, bro. Keep going. KTV. Hit me up. We can do that. Hit me up at Fifth Dimension Media 1@gmail.com. We set something up, man. Beautifully blessed. Appreciate you becoming a member. Beautifully blessed. We appreciate you as always and your contribution. Good morning, G. Bush. Anyone is better than Stadomski. Bevski. Beautifully blessed says McDaniel was also fighting against a quarterback with brain injury. They waited too long to move from Tua. Being in the healthcare field, the signs were that Tua needs to retire. So a lot of people with the Tua thing is they was going back and forth with him, but they already gave Tua that bag. They gave him that extension, and it turned out to be bad for Flores. McDaniel, we'll see. I don't know what they're gonna do because the cap hit on Tua is crazy. Lawrence RBE says, As for the coaching search, AB was smart to not publicly say it. It's 12, but I bet the plan for 12 is in the search. Contrary to the low tier media, the Browns is a coaching job many want. Hey, undersell and over deliver. It does you no good to come out and be like 12's our quarterback so we can hear articles about why he ain't the quarterback and why you didn't vet him and why all that's good stuff. You tell 12, listen, we will go away, go to the offseason, get these dudes together, and let's keep it cooking. You can tell coaches, hey, listen, man, we're not going to tell you that 12 is the quarterback right now. We want to get you in the building and see what you're talking about. Why would I tell you before I bring you in that you're going to predetermine what's going to happen? We want to get your input on it. We ain't looking crazy. And by the way, what if somebody want to move up and get a quarterback? We need to hold in our cards and be like, we might take a quarterback so we can get some picks from you. It does you no good. Does you no good, my G. Okay, I'm convinced Short should be the new head coach. You like that presentation? I don't know nothing. But listen, they can pick somebody else. I don't know. I'm just giving you my 2 cents, right? They can go in a different direction. There's a couple of ways they can go. They got an opportunity. We'll see what it comes up with. But from the way I look at it, Beautifully Blessed says Miles doesn't play both sides of the football. Football is a team sport. One player can't do it all. So then they would have won all 17 games. Stop the nonsense. Yeah, I remember we had a conversation. We was arguing about that on UCSS. We was arguing about, I'm like, come on, man. Miles Garrett is dope. Don't get it twisted. I was the one telling y'all, yeah, stop. All the Miles Garrett slander is ridiculous. But, like, it's a team sport. Like, everybody has to play. He's a big part of it. G Money Uptown. Hire Cliff Kingsbury and watch him get back to top quarter. Cliff Kingsbury is out there a little bit as well. The encouragement after. Thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate you. And welcome to the family. T Storm. Get that membership, folks, because G is cooking. We appreciate you and the support. We try to give you good content. That's what we aim to do. Don Hall. Game review of the Bengals games with Tyvus. I think we talked about that a little bit. Here's what we might do. Here's what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to make sure y'all, I'm a man of my word. If y'all really want that review, what we'll do is I'll put that together and we'll give you a part of that review on Wednesday before we get to the receivers. How's about that? Is that something we can do, Rosie? All right. She gave me the permission. On Wednesday, we're going to go back. We're going to get you the game review. We're going to highlight it, and then we'll get to the receivers. I'm a man. Lord of Judah, let Tyvus know that he's a real one for trolling the Coach Prime as head coach and Shiloh in the squad, giving them that man nightmares. I was sitting up there, and I was like, listen, we need special teams cats. Listen, I told you, I said, man, listen, first and foremost, all jokes aside, Prime does not want this headache. He don't want that. Listen, he out there impacting lives, putting guys in position, out there making moves in young people's lives, like really doing something. Shiloh is a model or something. Shiloh is out here. I think I watched his blog, one of his best ones. You ain't seen it, go check it out. He was doing a thrift store. This is how much of a see you auntie my aunt is. She said, Garrett, Shiloh, he went to the thrift store. Remember how we used to go to the thrift store with you and Larry? We used to always go when y'all used to get y'all school clothes. We used to get them outfits together and we put them together. And they said, where you get that? And you said, just a second, boy, don't you be telling nobody where you got that from. I said, yeah, and them was the good old days, right? It was the good old days, the thrift store. But it was one of his best blogs. Shout out. Make sure y'all go check that out. Shiloh ain't worried about the Browns either. But it was funny, though. It was funny. Not to be creepy or too nosy, did you hear that 12 spiritual issues nephew was dealing with? Let's pray. He figured it out. Let's keep praying in the chat. Yeah, I think it's one of the best things about this game. One of the best things about it is understanding that. That's why I always tell people, man, get Shedeur out of here. Nah, bro. He here for a reason. He here to get, you got to get what you gonna get. You can't fast forward no spiritual. You're supposed to be here for a reason. And sometimes you here for a reason to catch a lesson, to catch what you need to catch. And that growth, that spiritual growth is what you need in your journey. So you can't fast forward none of that. And everything that he went through this year is something that's going to motivate him and continue to make him grow in his journey. Because to be truthful, this is light. Where we going, where we trying to go, we talking about media people. Oh, this is the preliminary rounds. We ain't even got to the bosses yet. We ain't got to the point where we trying to fight to make the playoffs. We ain't to the point where you have a tough playoff loss. We ain't got to the point where you got to battle past injuries. We ain't been to the point where, God forbid, you get to the Super Bowl and we play horrible. Bro, we talk about going back and forth with media members. That battle is over. The big battle is what we come up, how we win this trophy. So that's why you say, G-Push, why you transitioning? Because this is light. We just figured out, everybody else just figured out what everybody else already knew. Yeah, this is what's been happening behind closed doors. Like, y'all just now coming to this conclusion. We like years ahead of that. But we need those experiences in the spiritual journey to get where you need to go to fight the big battles. This ain't no boss. This ain't Shredder. This ain't Bowser. This not King Koopa. This is not. This ain't M. Bison. This ain't Shang Tsung. This ain't even Goro. I keep going. This is not the final boss. These are light adversaries. My video game. Reverend BJ Nelson at Well Off Media. Bucky, welcome. Keep doing a great job as you do. Bucky in the building. Shout out to him. Shout out to him in the building. Keep that film coming. Keep that coming. Yoshi Doshi. I combined pistol and West Coast offenses a decade ago. Do you think Shedeur would fit well in the type of offense, and why also ask Prime for more bling? Man, you know Prime. Come on, man. Prime not giving up no jewelry. Prime not giving up no jewelry. That's a party foul anyway. You can't ask another grown man for no jewelry. Like you. When you get a certain age, the only person that asks you for some jewelry is your wife. That's the only person. I feel bad about asking my wife for jewelry. She just do a good job of getting it, but I can't go to her and be like, babe, you see this bracelet over here? Nah, bro, you can't. Now, I do. Now, the only people that I get my wife, well, I do get jewelry. I buy my dad watches. I buy my wife jewelry. But you know who's really good at it? My wife buys some dope watches. She good at buying watches, man. She buy good watches. I had to start telling her, hey, man, you can't be putting that on the internet. No more pictures of my watches, man. You know what I'm saying? These dudes be out here biting a little bit, be hating a little bit. But I combine pistol. Shedeur would be great in the West Coast offense because he is accurate and he has good timing and touch. In terms of the pistol, I think that speaks for itself. I think you see his mobility. Who would have known he was putting people on mixtapes? I mean, some of the read option stuff that he has, some of his mobility in the pocket. So being in the pistol is something that would definitely work well. I think Shedeur could be in a lot of different offenses because he can play in structure and he can improvise. Let's see. DK Skull G. Most Cleveland media immature. Focus on retribution from the past sins instead of building the future. AB improved the roster. Deshaun Watson mentorship. All-pro backup. Kevin Stefanski got going to do to pass-ins and no sign of improvement. You know, a lot of bees. Listen, I ain't got people be in their feelings, man. I don't be getting it. I just don't understand it. They be in their bag. Like let me just tell you this. I love the Cleveland Browns. I grew up. I could see the Pro Football Hall of Fame from my bedroom when I grew up. Football is not only what I like, it's in my DNA. I came from the city that birthed football. I only watch one team, the Cleveland Browns. That's it. I don't got another team. I went to OU. I root for the Bobcats. Other than that, bro, I don't got a new dog in the fight. Why would I not want a quarterback that can play, that's good for the community, that's genuine, that comes from a good family structure and background, and can play football, and it sparked my team to some wins down the stretch, that's shown some promise? Why would I not want that? Ask yourself the question, what are you looking at that the rest of us don't see that he is such a problem, a distraction? Where? You got to figure that out. You have to do some soul searching within yourself to figure that out. I can't give you the answer to that. But as far as for me, I can't be addressing it every week either. It's up to you. Keisha says, what bothers me is the media still talking distraction. Shedeur has done nothing. The media is distracted. Yeah, there you go, Keisha. That's it. That's all it is. But here's what we got to do, though. If you know it's a distraction, we can't feed into it. That's why I tell them it's the last week. If you got a problem that Jimmy Haslem that chose Andrew Berry, you're going to have to go to church on Sunday. Maybe the Lord, if you upset that Shedeur Sanders is still here and it looks like he's gonna be the quarterback, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to figure it out on your own terms. But I can't waste my content trying to tell you why or giving you reasons to. You're just gonna have to figure it out. Joey, Too Cool TV. So I recently started watching American football. I'm from South America, and you are my go-to for football analysis. Thank you so much. I'm watching America. I'm from South America. I want to thank. That's the biggest compliment I can get, Joey. Somebody that's new to the sport. So I take that with pride in terms of analysis. I take that with pride. I am an ambassador to the game. We appreciate you. Time to turn the page on the conversation with the Cleveland Browns. It's time to look to the page in 2026. Wrist up. There you go, T-Storm. Turn that page. Sorry. It's time to turn the page. You know what my slogan is? Came alive in 25. Ain't gonna miss in 26. Jonathan McGriff. They had that man throwing the trash cans. Come on. That was it right there. When I went to practice, I said, bro, they got him on the side field. Everybody know that hooping in the city. Everybody know that ball in the city is the court where it's the main court where the ballers play. And then it's the court over there where it'd be kind of, and then it's the third court. I said, they got the nerve to have that man on the third. That did it for Kevin Stefanski right there. It was done. Just a girl, Shedeur said, if you don't want to change your friend, don't draft me. Look at Cleveland changing. They better do right by him next season. It's changed. A lot changed. I think that threatens some people too. Nita finally said live, yes, they use the fans knowing players' salary to control players because of the fan blowback, especially when they refuse to take pay cuts. It's the biggest scam that works every time. That's why I be kicking knowledge. I be kicking the game. People don't want to pick up on Nita. You are correct. It's always the perception, right? It's the perception that they use fans. Fandom is fanatic. So there's a thin line between love and hate. When a player does well, they love him to death. If they drop the football, get them out of here. If they want more money, they're locker room cancer. When they question the coach or the authority, if the coach don't do well, then all of a sudden it's the players. They use it all the time. Then they use the pressure of the salary cap. Oh, the pressure's his cap hit is this. So we can't get no more players because this guy's making the most money. And then when we lose, we say we don't got no players. Well, if it wasn't for Deshaun Watson's guaranteed deal. But my question is, if it was supposed to be like that, why don't they have coaches, and why the coaches' salaries don't count towards the cap? Because intrinsically, some coaches are better than others, right? It's a competitive advantage if you have a great coach, don't you? So Andy Reid probably should cost more against the cap than a rookie coach, right? No, we can't do that. So we're not going to publicize that. We're not going to talk about that. They'll publicize. They're good at doing this. They'll publicize all kind of stuff, right? But they ain't gonna tell you how much money they made on them CEO bonuses. Them bonuses is not, and when you find out, you say, hold on, so you done laid off 600 people. You laid off 600 people in Dallas. You laid off 600 people in Los Angeles. You laid off, you closed a whole plant in Des Moines, Iowa. 2,000 people in a small town of 10,000. You just unemployed the whole town. But your CEO made $272 million last year. The year before that, he got a bonus of $60 million. Well, they ain't going to put that in there because it make it look crazy, right? It's just all about the optics. My man, at Dion Assassin Sanders Jr., appreciate the support, dog. Your comment section is not planned. The rejected will be respected. I appreciate you, my guy. See, now what we're going to have to deal with is, problem is, now they're going to pick up on this, and they're going to see, they say, oh, my goodness, he in the chat. Junior was in the chat. See, G. Bush, I told you, G. Bush, he had lived with Prime. He lived with Prime like in high school, and he's a plant now. He a plant now, and he lived with Prime. Actually, He actually, you know, it's the cousins of Deion Sanders Jr., and that's why G. Bush be saying what he be saying, and he pandering. I'm like, oh, boy. The gymnastics is coming. You know, G. Bush, you know, he started the Barbershop. The Barbershop is a subsidy of well-off media and Prime. And so what it is, they set that thing up so so that anytime somebody say something about one of the Shedorians, G. Bush can step in and take the charge for you, boy. It's okay, man. I appreciate it. But listen, I appreciate you pulling up. Always saying what I say, and I just kind of keep it real. But you know how they be playing. They gonna be sick. I told you he was a plant. Well, I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Well Off Media. Make sure you go subscribe and check out that. Subscribe over there. Shout out to the peoples. We appreciate you. Nate Easley. Shout out to you, my guy. We appreciate you. Christopher Robbins. I'm agreeing with your aforementioned statement of moving JS to head coach, Jim Schwartz to head coach, and hiring McDaniel as offensive coordinator. Let's roll. David Walker. Bieniemy was interviewed for 15 head coaching jobs and was never hired. Terrell Austin told teams when he was with the Lions not to interview him just for the Rooney Rule. If he's not a serious candidate, don't call now with the Steelers. See the Rooney Rule messed around and became a joke. Stop calling me up. Stop calling me. See, a lot of people don't be hitting me up using me for my base. Don't be hitting me up just because I represent a demographic. You're not going to think about hiring me. I don't want to do the interview. I'm not coming to, bro, listen. I'm not coming to think about doing no show for you if you're not thinking about making me the dude. Because I already know what I'm coming with. I already know I'm coming with transformative material. Do not interview G. Bush if you feel like I ain't the one. As a matter of fact, I stopped going to interviews. You know what I did? I made my own show. Shout out to you, David. Don Hall. Yeah. Thank you, Rosie. See, Don, I told you. Look, Rosie, she pulled me. She was like, here we go. Patrick Williams, why Mary Kay and Bull Salty about the Newsom comment on the Arena podcast. I saw you over there to yourself. Why they mad about the Newsom comment on? I don't realize what he made on that. I don't get the context. The Gilbert Arenas podcast, or is that TJ Ward? Yeah, I think you talk about TJ Ward. Yeah, I'm part of the media. I got 17 media jobs. Why would I be mad that somebody says something about the media? They're not my collective identity. That's not my identity. Because you know why? Because G. Bush stands for G. Bush. I only speak for myself. Devin Bush has as many touchdown receptions as any receiver that anybody, not a tight end. Stop. We need a playmaker and all on the line, on the offensive line. Most important of all, accountability. Cleveland to the casting drops. What's up, my guy? Shout out to my guy, OG Ellis. Make sure you check out that interview. It's doing numbers. See how we do over here? That support. I wasn't even talking about nothing. I just got my OG, one of the dudes that's been here since the Cardiac Kids, to the casting drops. He's been here when the old stadium closed. He was here with Kozar, Sipe, all them. He's been rocking out with the, and even that interview was kicking. That interview got views. You know why? Because we talk about the real over here. We talk about gang violence. We talk about stopping the violence. We talk about the community. So that's good. That interview gonna jump. Christopher Robbins, naming the final bosses off gaming is wild work. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That if you know, you know. Jim H shouldn't give John H. Brown a penny of his money. Black acre, white acre. Fred Mayo, the great. Flores Schwartz, offensive coordinator must be Eric Bieniemy. Speed X on UCSS. Why compare 12-7 starts to full rookie lines instead of the 7? Ward's first 7, 1,356 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Shedeur 1,379 interceptions behind the worst online, 0 offensive. And by the way, Chase Daniels and Mel Kiper have both said a lot of them interceptions. Now, he's thrown some interceptions. Like them interceptions against the Bears, them was picks. But there was the Jerry Jeudy through his arms in the corner, no. The ball bouncing off somebody's helmet, no. The ball that bounced off Judkins' hands because he didn't get it, no. There's a lot of these turnovers that you could be looked at like, not really. Somebody got fooled legitimately against the Raiders. He legitimately got fooled a few times, and he had some turnover returns. But let's not act like all of these is created equal. People be doing too much. R. Mac Dog G, I'm back from my cruise, and I heard about Harbaugh demands, but since Jimmy already gave GM powership to Andrew, hoping that he promotes shorts. Yeah, I heard about, we played that here too. We gave y'all a lot of information today. Hopefully y'all go away. Hopefully y'all come away with this information. Let me look at this a little closer. Christopher Robbins grew up in Lakewood, went to Lakewood High School at OSU, in the Dominican for work now for a weekend, and then headed to Poland for 3 weeks, then Manila for 2 weeks. I take the barbershop wherever I go. Well, my wife is from Manila. I've never been to Poland. Shout out to the Dominican Republic. I heard it's nice. I heard it's nice down there. Heard it's nice down there. One of my single guys said, I heard it's nice down there. Crazy. But it's nice in Manila though too. I mean, I went to Manila one time to date a girl. Remember how that went? She turned out to be a sweet girl. Worked out well for me. I didn't. Hey, Jab 9237. By the way, she's in all of the joints. So she be in the film breakdowns. So this is how in depth the chat be over here. Ain't nobody else's chat doing this. I did an all 22 analysis on every interception, the breakdown, quarterback error 2, drops 2, tip 2, wide receiver not expected points 2, scheme forced throw play call 2. If you add up 3 stolen Wildcat TDs for Shedeur is good. ain't nobody putting in no work like that. I appreciate you. David Walker, owners are brilliant. The billionaire owner have convinced the fans that the millionaire players are the greedy ones. Every team will get a check for $425 million in March when no football is being played. Who really is the greedy? That's the thing, because you're able to get. That's the reason they like college players playing in college. It further normalizes them because you watch them growing up in lineage. So then they get to the pros, like you have an attachment to them. So you have relationships with these people. Billionaires are so rich that you can't fathom how much that money they're making. Think about it like this. They pay everybody. Think about this. No, hold on. Think about this. So if you feel Deshaun Watson is rich, I pay Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett, and Denzel Ward. And I own the stadium. What? So, yeah, I'm building a new one too. What? And I own all the land around it. What? By the way, I own the Milwaukee Bucks too. What? I own the Columbus Crew. What? Yeah, I pay all the soccer players. I pay Giannis. I pay all those people. I pay for the building there. That's wild work. Like, these people are richer. You can't fathom that. But what you can fathom is, I can understand that I watched this kid in high school. He came up. He went through the ranks, played at Ohio State. He plays. He interviews every week. The NFL is brilliant because of the way that they've made their industry. They were the first industries that said that coaches have to talk. Starting quarterbacks must speak. There's no, you're going to talk to the media. Access, 24-hour news. Right now, think about this. We talked about the NFL and the Cleveland Browns. I've been talking for 3 hours. This number ain't moved. 3,600, almost 4,000 people live concurrently watching around the world, because the NFL it's a cycle. It's a marketing tool. It's communication. They've wrapped it up in one. Football is almost like a religion in this country. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that to me. We know that. But have you ever seen somebody change their religion? Unless some life-changing happens, you is what you are. You ain't getting no new Browns fans. You ain't getting people don't leave the Browns. But Jimmy Haslem found a way to get new Browns fans. Where do you get new diehard fans from? You don't get that with moving up to get Dante Moore. You get that by surrounding yourself with a guy in Shedeur Sanders. I'm just saying, I'm just kicking knowledge. Maybe you pick it up where I'm putting down. TJ Ward is who I meant, sorry. Patrick Willie, I got you. They was in their bag. James Frank, we appreciate the super chat. Christopher Robbins, your single guy friend is right about the Dominican Republic. My wife looked over there and was like, yeah, your single guy friend is not allowed coming to dinner. But I said, he don't want to anyway. He's too busy in the Dominican Republic. Set apart lad, Jason Source on the show yesterday with Stefanski. Oh, God. Yeah, this is why I got funny, man. The Browns is Miles and Shedeur squad. I'd say so. Daniel Todd. The beauty of Sanders' situation is once he wins the quarterback job, the Browns schedule will have him facing off against Mendoza and should have all next year. Ain't that beautiful? And we came in not knowing what we wanted to do, but we wanted to put it to bed. We wanted to put it to rest. And I encourage you to leave on this encouraging note. This is the last week of this nonsense. With that being said, live free. live fun. You never know where G. Bush might show up, radio, television, internet, but you went to fresh, cut on sports. I keep the Clippers with me. Have a great rest of your evening. And as always, like we say, it's always go Browns.